Hey folks, I want to do a follow-up to this video that I did yesterday, and I will mention it in the I will mention it here, or tag it, or whatever you're supposed to do. Anyway, it was a video about how when you're training horses, what you do on one side of the horse you have to do on the other side of the horse. And in the course of that video I explained that horses have a split brain. You know, basically what happens and what is processed on one side of the brain has to also process on the other side of the brain. And I was explaining that what horses see, for instance, Whiskey standing here, what Whiskey sees and interprets with his left eye is not going to be seen and interpreted with his right eye, most likely, unless there's only a few spots on a horse where they can see with both eyes. They can see the same thing with both eyes. Usually for a horse, it's what is seen by the right eye is processed by that one side, and what is seen on the left side is processed by that side. I mean, you know, by that eye only. So my mistake though, and it was thankfully pointed out to me by JR on here, so shout out to JR, is when I was trying to explain this, I was saying that what is processed by the right eye is I mean, what's taken in by the right eye or seen by the right eye is processed on the right hemisphere of the brain. I was actually wrong in that, and my apologies. Like Cutter's standing here, and what he sees with his right eye is going to be processed in the left hemisphere of his brain. And in contrast, what he processes with what he takes in on his left eye is going to be processed by the right hemisphere of his brain. So I need to correct that. But my point, the original point I was trying to make was, even though I got the sides of the hemisphere of the brain wrong, what he is seeing right now when I am standing right here is he only sees me with his right eye. He does not see me with his left eye because of the way a horse's vision works. They have monocular or monocular and binocular vision. They have two sets of vision. So that's why it's so important to, when you're training or when you're working with a horse, whatever you do on one side of the horse, you have to do on the other side of the horse, because everything I do on this side of the horse is seen by his right eye only. Now, if I were standing in front of him, right about here, he can see me with both eyes. But the closer I get, the more he cannot see. That's why horses, a lot of people go to reach for the horse's face when they first meet them. That's actually not something you should do, because they can't see you right here. They have a blind spot, and it's frightening to them to be touched with something. So when you're coming up to a horse, it's always better to greet them from one side or the other because of their field of vision. So to tie that back to the original point, let me just super clarify. Any information that is viewed on the right side of the horse's face is processed in the left hemisphere and vice versa. Okay? But anything they see on one side can only be seen by that side. So I'm sorry for the confusion, and JR, thank you so much for pointing that out. I totally misspoke on that, and I described it incorrectly, but I want you guys to be really, really clear on that. So anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day, and if this information helps you at all, or you just find it interesting and think someone else might like to learn about it, or if you just want to help the channel, please like, comment, share, repost. And listen, I want to point out one more thing to you guys that I think is pretty neat. You know, the cicadas hatched from their 17-year sleep or whatever it is they do. Down in those woods, I want you to listen. You hear that kind of chirping, humming? That's all cicadas down in there. That's the cicada song. So pretty neat. All right, everybody out there, take care.